Hello, crafty friends. This is Heather Rui, and I'm excited to be back with a tour of my craft room. We moved into our house about a year ago, and I feel like I'm finally settled in enough to show you around. Now, I don't know about you, but I love a good before and after. So I thought I would start off by showing you a before picture. This is how the previous owners had the space set up. It was a formal dining room. I chose this particular room for my craft space for a few reasons. One was for the natural light. You can't see them in the photo, but there are two large windows on the left-hand side. Another reason I wanted this room was because it was on the main floor of our house. I do this for my job and I spend many hours in here, so I didn't want to be tucked away from my family. I also knew the space would be perfect because we hardly ever used our formal dining room in our old house, and I didn't want this space to be unused. So now let's see the after. Welcome to my happy place. So this room is about 10 by 12 in size and has two openings that are not closed off. When you add in the windows, it's not much wall space, so I had to get creative with my storage and organization. At the end of this video, I'll be sharing some tips. So let's start the tour. As soon as you enter the room on the right, you will find my die cut station. I have a white shelf above it that holds my alcohol inks, paints, and Nuvo drops. Below that is a shelf that holds a small die cut machine, a couple bowls to hold die cuts, and my wire snips to cut dies apart. I also have a speaker for music, which is always playing while I'm crafting. If you follow me at all, then you know I gravitate towards bright, happy colors. So as soon as I saw this lime green tool chest, I was in love. I use the top as a surface for my die cut machines. The drawers hold a lot. The top drawer holds my MISTI tools. The second drawer holds cleaning items like rags, stamp cleaners, stamp chamois, and Swiffer dusting cloths. The third drawer holds all of my ink blending tools, and the bottom drawer holds my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cut machine as well as extra die cutting plates. Moving to the left and past the opening to the hallway, leading to the kitchen are two bookshelves. They are Billy bookcases from IKEA. I chose these because of the adjustable shelves. At the top, I store miscellaneous pens and markers, and they're all in rainbow order, of course. Buttons below that, and 6x6 background stamps on the next shelf. I found some vintage locker baskets at an antique mall that they fit in perfectly. Below that is all my clear stamps divided by manufacturer. I have a few boxes on the next shelf that hold card kits. And finally, I have my cardstock storage at the bottom. I use Simon Says stamp cardstock the most, so I store that here, as well as bins on top of that hold basic cardstocks that I reach for more often, as well as card bases. For decoration, I like to display my son's artwork, as well as some initials for my name. I also have a spinner on top that holds cards created by friends. On the smaller bookshelf, I store my coloring mediums, along with 6x6 paper pads, cards I created, and more basic cardstock. Continuing left begins my ink storage on the wall. I use the ink pad storage system by Organize More. I like having all my inks in one place and up off my work surface. I like that the top of the units provide a shelf for me to display all my knickknacks and art prints. I have a complete list of where I purchased everything in my craft room over on my blog, plus a special coupon code from Organize More. I'll be sure to link that in the description below. Below my ink storage are my IKEA Alex drawers. This is the best investment I made in my craft room. I love these drawers. I have 6 of the tall 9-drawer units and 2 of the wider 6-drawer units that I stacked on top of each other. I'm not going to show you what's in every drawer, but I will share a few examples. For the wide drawers on the left, I like to store my mini ink cubes, woodblock stamps, fun foam, punches, and my ink machine. For the tall single units on the right, I like to store washi tape, heat guns, embossing powder, felt, sequins, and twine. Again, these are just a few examples. Continuing on, you will see 2 windows I mentioned earlier. I have my desk facing the windows so I can have a view while crafting. Above the windows, I have a shelf for more decor. Next to the windows is a rolling cart from IKEA. It stores bins that hold upcoming projects I'm working on. Since this is my job, it's been a lifesaver keeping everything organized by project. I also like that it's on wheels and I can move it around the room. Above the cart is a shadow box that holds my fast-growing enamel pen collection and a rainbow made by a crafty friend. I also have another one of the Billy bookshelves tucked in the corner. It holds more coloring mediums, card bases, envelopes, and my die storage. I also keep my holiday stamps here, as well as favorite magazines and craft books. Now we are all the way around the room and back where we started from. I have a card garland hanging up that displays cards from friends. I change it often and it makes me smile every time I see it. I also have a framed art piece by one of my favorite artists. Again, you can find more information and links over on my blog. Now I want to go back to the center of the room to my desk. On the right-hand side of the desk are 2 metal IKEA cabinets. The cabinet next to me holds all of my most used supplies like black ink, adhesive, baby wipes, misties, acrylic blocks, and masking paper. In the identical cabinet behind it, I have a similar setup that is ready for a guest who comes and crafts with me. This way they don't have to worry about packing so much. I also have a couple drawers dedicated for my son's toys, so he is encouraged to come and hang out. On the top of the desk, I have the Tim Holtz glass mat for my work surface, as well as the Boone organizer for the things I reach for most often. I also have a little dish to hold a baby wipe or stamp chamois, as well as a coaster to keep my projects from getting ruined by my drink. So that concludes the tour of my craft space, but before I go, I have a few more things I want to share. First, my room does not always look like this. The reality is, it looks more like this. Products all over my desk, my kids' school papers scattered about, boxes on the floor. It can really be a hot mess. Just as you would clean up your house before a guest comes, I clean up my room to share here. Also, I dedicated a whole room to this in my house because I do this for a job. If you have a card table set up in your basement with a few boxes of supplies, that is awesome. Do what works best for you. Before I go, I have a few tips to share when creating a craft space of your own. First, think outside the box. Use unexpected furniture and storage solutions. The lime green toolbox and the vintage locker baskets are examples of this. They are some of my favorite things in my craft room too. This brings me to my next tip. Surround yourself with things that make you happy and inspire you. For me, it's rainbow colors. Another tip is to use every square inch of vertical space. Adding tall shelves and hanging all of the ink on the walls cleared up space for a lot of precious real estate. Another example of this is the space that was left over when I set up my IKEA drawers. There was about 6 inches of space left, and I needed more paper storage, so my husband built me a tall cabinet to hold my colored cardstock. That 6 inches of space holds a ton of paper. Remember, every square inch counts. And finally, I also can't say enough about paint. I think this applies to any room in your house. It's one of the most inexpensive ways to transform a space. I only had to paint the lower half of my craft space, and I chose a neutral gray so that all of my rainbow decor would pop against it and not be too overwhelming. All right, that concludes the tour. Thank you for watching, and I hope I've inspired you to create a happy space of your own. Have a great day.